Good morning, this is Chessie with Healthy Hearts and Guillotines. I'm here with my co-host.
Zakim, wonderful to be here on this sunny day.
Is it a sunny day? Oh yeah, I guess it is a sunny day.
You haven't been outside.
I wouldn't know. I haven't seen the outside today at all.
Because it's too cold for someone.
Yeah, it's negative 13 Celsius, like negative, and that's pretty close to 0 Fahrenheit. That's too cold for me, and I moved from Wisconsin, where I lived for 20 years, to Lithuania, which has exactly the same weather.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how you're having a difficult adapting.
It's fine. You just stay indoors for 2 months. Anyway, this week we are doing physical traumas on Healthy Hearts and Guillotines, and how you deal with trauma.
Or at least our experiences with it.
Yeah, we're going to tell some stories. I suppose we should start with what are the symptoms of trauma, because I think most people will discount a lot of things in their lives that are symptomatic of trauma.
So the signs of trauma, the symptoms, there's of course two kinds, the immediate one and the long-term one. Everyone is familiar with the RICE technique, about how you need to rest, ice, elevate, and just rest the part of your body that was injured.
And compression.
Oh, compression. There we go.
Yeah.
The C in rice.
The C in rice, yes.
Yeah, it's the very standard one.
Speaks to how far down our cups of coffee we are this morning.
Yes. And, well, obviously all of that is done to reduce the short-term pain and to help you be recovering as fast as possible. But of course, each trauma will have its own little different signs. Let's say you have a head injury. Well, the swelling might be less, but you might feel more confusion. You also might have more emotional response. If the injury was very clumsy, random, you might feel even ashamed or guilty to admit that, yeah, I just fell down the stairs.
And that can produce hypercaution. Okay, so then we're getting into longer-term stuff.
Yeah.
What are the long-term signs of trauma?
Well, one of them is hypercaution. If you've injured, let's say, an ankle, a knee, all of a sudden, going down the stairs, you're subconsciously doing it slower and carefully. You can even adjust your entire walking gait to accommodate for the fact that, well, you're injured. Years might have passed since your injury, but you haven't recovered physically or mentally because you're still afraid that whatever happened to you will happen again. So you become hyper-cautious. That is the negative symptoms of long-term trauma, physical trauma, and not dealing with this, because you're supposed to actually recover, not just adapt to trauma. And of course, when you're adapting to trauma instead of treating it, of course, your body will change the way its muscles work, and lots of muscle tension can happen, especially if you're hyper-cautious around, let's say, a sensitive, injured back. An injured muscle will tense up because it's afraid to be injured again, because you didn't give it a sense of safety and recovery. Sure. So you might, if, let's say, you have an injury in the back, your back, it may get tense. But not just the lower back, you can get the upper back, the shoulders, all the way up to the neck. It's just a chain reaction. And, of course, the spine being what it is, if your back is tense, then all the nerves that go through the back, well, it's just a chain effect.
I actually had a neck injury a couple of years ago, which caused heart palpitations. Because it's a neck injury. Yep. It's going to happen. And now I have to be very careful with what I eat. Because if my shoulders get too tense, then my neck tightens up and my heart starts palpitating again.
Entirely possible, yes.
And then I relax and, go take a warm shower or something like that, and it's back to where it was. But this is just, they looked at it, they said, yup, you screwed up your neck. Good on you, honey. Your vagal nerve is permanently hosed, or your vagus nerve. Is permanently going to have this pressure on it, so you have to be careful with it.
Yes, and as you've said, the damage might be permanent, but you can take plenty of steps to reduce the pressure and of course reduce the symptoms.
In my case, it's reducing hypertension or tension, period.
Yes.
Which, let's face it, when you're moving to another country is quite difficult. You're going to be a little tense.
For the longest time I've known you, you've always been a little tense.
A little tense, a little wound up. And I look at myself and I think, I'm a fairly chill person. And then every single person in my life, my friends, my family, look at me and go, you are the most tightly wound asshole we know.
We didn't use the word asshole, but yeah. Mm-hmm. And of course, when you have tightness in a muscle, the opposite of tightness is relaxation, which you need for sleep. So if your muscles are tight, you're not going to have the best sleep. That's just how it is. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I would know. I've had plenty of trauma. I guess we can get into that right now.
Oh, yeah. Hey, genuinely, I am curious, because you mentioned that you've been in the military.
Sadly.
Yeah, and that didn't sound fun. And that seems like a great place to get physical trauma.
All kinds of trauma, honestly. All kinds of trauma.
Different brands and flavors.
Yeah.
They have like sour cream and onion trauma. They've got cheddar.
More like dirt and pine than dirt and oak, dirt and sand.
Oh, all the unique Baltic flavors.
All the discounted flavors of the chips, I suppose.
Dirt and sour cream. That's a very Lithuanian one.
Yeah.
Extra dill sour cream.
So the first one I had is building up for a long time, actually. A long time.
So you got injured and then it was physically built up, or it was just literally a building injury?
It was a part of my body that got injured several times, maybe tens. So once upon a time, I was a kid in kindergarten, enjoying winter as, we do, sliding down a small slope, couldn't be more than like 4 meters, 20 meters long, and just slide down and go wee.
Yeah.
And the kid behind you doesn't wait long enough, and they ram you right in the lower back.
Ow!
You lose breathing function for a few times. You feel like you're dying, and then eventually, after that, psychologically, you're careful about, repeating that thing.
Sledding.
Yeah.
I hope that this person who did not wait long enough before sledding down the hill ended up with a mouthful of snow at some point.
I do hope so, but that happened to me again the next year.
Kidding.
Yeah, but it was the most ridiculous thing. And so obviously that's one part. And it was a little bit of a shock to hear around when I was, I want to say, 19, 20, that I developed spondylolisthesis. Spondylolisthesis.
Oh, I'm not going to try to pronounce that one. Go ahead.
I went, because, recurring back pain. I had recently finished my season of kettlebell weightlifting. Was quite a good season, but the back pain eventually just was nagging me. It really didn't feel like a giant issue.
Just poking you in the lower back.
Yeah, just poking me. And I know how to do stretches. I've been exercising as an ex-athlete for many years. I thought I knew how to take care of my body. And then the doctor just says, hey, you got this. So,
this incredibly difficult to pronounce thing, which it seems like you've dedicated some time to learning to pronounce.
That actually is true. It is true. So the doctor said, just don't exercise.
What?
Just don't exercise and wear one of those compression belts.
How long were you not meant to exercise for?
Forever.
Oh, so he was insane.
Either insane or just incompetent. One of those two. So then...
And this you're 27?
No, at that time I was 20 to 21, yeah, at most.
So 20 to 21 and the doctor's saying to you, just don't exercise anymore.
Yep.
It's fine, just don't exercise anymore. If you balloon to 290 pounds, or if you balloon to 150 stone and die of a heart attack at 54 years old, no big deal.
Yeah, it's very short-sighted, but that happens sometimes. On the other hand, physiotherapists, God's gift to this earth, I swear. Had to pay quite a bit out of my pocket because all the good ones are private. But what did happen after spending 2,000s was I learned that this injury doesn't need to affect me nearly as much as any of the doctors said it would.
So just, it's a pain thing, but it's not going to cripple you.
If you know how to take care of your body, then no.
Okay.
Because I've literally done the exact opposite of what the clinic doctor said, and I got better. I no longer need a belt for exercising or anything, really. I'm able to hold a Roman chair back isometric for 2 minutes. My back tenses up a lot, but after that, it feels that it can handle that, and now I'm good.
I don't know what Roman chair back isometric is. Is that one of these things where you bend your spine into a pretzel and then...
No, not exactly. It's much more simple than that. But essentially what it was, I learned that I don't need to protect my back. I need to grow my back's ability to, handle load. Because you might have heard to not lift with your back.
Yeah.
And that is a reasonable thing to say if you haven't practiced lifting with your back.
If you don't have like the musculature underneath. Because I would say the same thing to people. I used to weightlift quite a bit. Is when you are weightlifting, you don't, if you are on the bar, you don't want to lift with your back. If you're laying on your back, you don't. There's a thing you'll see in a lot of weightlifting videos where someone is heaving a weight that is the heaviest weight they've ever lifted, and they'll arch their back.
Yes.
That's quite dangerous, and you are, at the point you are having to arch your back to lift something, you're lifting something that is too heavy for the rest of your body to handle, and you probably shouldn't lift that, put it down.
Yes, your body's trying to compensate for this specific one instance, which means it hasn't been trained to do that.
And the other thing is, like, people will say, well, if I don't lift it, then how will I get to being able to lift it easily? It's like, lower weights, more reps. Lower weights, more reps. You'll get there.
Patience is incredibly difficult to teach to people.
Particularly weightlifters, because sweet Jesus, they want them gains.
And also, of course, is the whole issue with newbie gains versus veteran gains. In the first year, you'll feel like a Superman. It's like, wow, I increased my deadlift by like 20, 30, 40 kilos. It's like, happens quite easily. Second year, if you get plus 20 kilos, amazing.
You're doing great.
You're doing amazing. And in like third to fifth year, like plus 10, 5 kilos, that's...
By 3 years, you are literally, if you are lifting for 3 years, you are reaching the upper physical limits of what your body will be able, like your joints, your bones, will be able to accept, even if you are using like proper gear. Towards the end of that third year, your body is getting up to where, short of chemical intervention, you're at the outer limits. 5 years, at 5 years, you might be getting incremental improvements at most, but unless you are willing to go the route of more extreme, like, let's face it, juicing, you're not going to be making that much of a change because your body's adapted to its own upper limits.
Yeah, your body has limits, and I suppose it's difficult for people to accept that because it's a little addictive to see yourself growing, and then all of a sudden your body says, well, this is enough.
This is fine. Because at a point, and your stomach is only a certain size. If you are pounding down protein in the quantities necessary to reach the upper limits of your musculature, you're changing so many things about your gut bacteria, about your intestines, about how your body is operating physically day on day, how you're healing. All these different things can contribute to improvement in one place and issues in another. So it's, extremes of physical trauma can come from those kinds of changes. I used to lift 30-pound weights and do them in high reps. And when I say high reps, I mean between 300 and 500 reps would be a pretty good, start for just up, down, up, down, up, down. This was before I knew what kind of damage I was doing to my elbows. I ended up with tennis elbow at 25.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Another interesting thing is you will hear sport name and then body part used to describe some sort of issue that a certain athlete in their sport would
have, yeah.
So like tennis elbow, golfer hip, like you understand eventually that just putting all of your physical activity into one single place will increase your risk by a lot.
Of physical trauma. So, outside of things that you do unintentionally through your own efforts to make yourself better, there's also the random violence trauma that we are all occasionally dealing with. I've brought it up before, but in the first weeks I was in Lithuania, I got attacked by a soap dish.
It was vicious.
It was aggressive. It was a little ceramic soap dish, and I was staying in a co-living space, so I got into the shower, reached out to grab the soap, picked up the whole soap dish, thinking, oh, it's a soap dish, I can pick the whole thing up. It's obviously plastic. No sane person would make a soap dish out of exploding ceramic. And this thing detonated in my hand like a shrapnel grenade and cut my thumb. And at first I was thinking, it's fine. It's, it'll stop bleeding. It's a cut. I can slap a sticking plaster on it. It didn't stop bleeding. Keep in mind, I'm an American, so going to the hospital is never a thing in my mind, but it was still bleeding 2 hours later. And the thumb was acting a little funny.
Hard to move.
Hard to move, yeah. Not fully hard to move, not immobile, but not great. So my partners bullied me into going down to the hospital, and I went to the hospital, and I had fully conscious surgery with 7 locals in my hand, where they had to peel the flesh off my thumb and reattach the tendon and knot the tendon up, and then immobilize the damn thing for a solid month, where, you just cannot use it for a straight month. This is my signing things hand in a country I've just moved to, and I didn't, I had no ability to sharpen anything for that month, and thereafter I've been incredibly careful with that. Thanks to Zakim, however, I have all the motion back in that thumb because he gave me a series of exercises to do, and I just sat there at my desk, slowly working through them. Spread the fingers, pull the fingers in, rotate the thumb, compress the thumb, extend the thumb, and I finally have full range of motion back. That's actually exactly how it used to be.
Now you show me, it's a huge improvement from the time when you removed.
When I took the damn cast off and the thumb would only go like that far.
It really looked like the entire thumb is just like one bone.
It was not great. It was embarrassing, particularly for somebody who works with their hands. But that trauma, I already had a catastrophic fear of doctors. I have had a terrible time getting back to a doctor here in Lithuania because I'm terrified of doctors, even though I had a great experience. Because I didn't end up having to spend $5,000, $6,000 on that. It was like 400 euros after, plus the physical therapy and so on. That included all that. And the physical therapy, to be clear, was like a pamphlet. It was less helpful than you would hope. But
yeah, that's I guess why you have me here.
That's true. But between all of those things, I've been stuck with this trauma over doctors. And my therapist was finally the one who pointed it out to me. It was like, you were awake when they cut you open. And no matter if you couldn't feel it every moment or there was no pain, you were still awake when that happened and fully conscious, and you remember it. We know that there are traumas that you can have as someone who goes and gets surgery where you're totally unconscious and get traumatized because the anesthetic only removes your memory of the pain. It doesn't remove the pain itself. So it's not shocking that you would have this physical trauma and this fear response, but I've also been wrestling with that fear response. Do you have any good advice that your doctor gave you about that your therapist gave you about how to move beyond these physical traumas? Because it can't just be mindfulness exercises.
It's not just mindfulness exercises. It is a good first step to acknowledge how you're feeling and not necessarily just jump to fixing it immediately.
But I want to fix it immediately.
It's everyone. It's everyone.
Can I just have all of the benefits and not do any of the work, please? I would prefer that over this effort crap that everyone keeps making me put in.
Sadly. Well, one of the things that my physiotherapist literally told me is that if you feel unsafe in a part of your body, that means your body hasn't been getting enough signals that that body part is safe. And how do you make it feel safe? Simple evidence. Like, can you bend your back and not be in pain? It's like, well, eventually I did, yeah. Eventually I practiced. And I can touch my feet with full palms down, straight legs, and there's no pain, and I'm perfectly okay with it.
Which is freaking impressive, by the way. I've seen him do this. It's impressive.
Like, for someone with back trauma who was afraid to bend back even a little bit, like my squats, because I was exercising, my squats were like up to 90 degrees and that's it. Like, no more. Mm-hmm. Now I can just go fully down and up. It's like, yeah, my back feels great. And before, I had the tiniest movement away from that 90 degrees and like might have a flare up for an entire week or two.
Yeah. I had that was when I was weightlifting. I used to do, I'm going to say this a lot. Don't do the thing I did. I used to do jump squats.
Oh boy.
Those are so hard on your knees. And like my knees are fine for the most part. But I got lucky because I checked in with a bunch of people that I knew who had done jump squats, and they said, oh, this is just damaging. Like it will make you very physically powerful in a burst kind of way, but you should definitely not be doing this regularly or heavily, and you're likely to get injured if you do it. So what I did instead was switch to sumo squats, which are vastly, vastly safer and less damaging. And I don't eat like a sumo wrestler, but that doesn't mean I can't work out like one. Because those guys understand strength.
Oh boy.
And they also understand like bursts of strength.
Oh yeah, incredibly.
You know, so that was something that I had to learn and accept, but the trauma that I inflicted on my knees and witnessing what other people had done to themselves was enough to make me cautious around my damn knees. So Zakeem tries to get me to walk down 8 flights of stairs, and I'm like, no, I'm just going to go take the elevator. I'll see you at the bottom, and then I'll walk up the 8 flights.
Yeah, but because you were afraid of the trauma.
That's true. And there are traumas that it is always worthwhile to work through because they affect your life, and traumas that you just don't think about or that are only come up in one circumstance. This is kind of one of those that only comes up in one circumstance. Because I'll walk down 2 flights of stairs. 8 flights of stairs is too much.
Of course, you can increase your tolerance bit by bit, which is how trauma healing is supposed to be done.
That's true. I've been, so for everyone who's aware of what the winters are like here in Lithuania, I have found an exercise that works, and it's walking the stairs.
Finally, a useful thing to live on the 8th floor.
Yep. I am now to 6 rounds of 8 flights of stairs, which is, check my math here, there's 20 stairs per flight times 8, that's 160, times 6, which is 920? 960? It's a lot of frickin' stairs. And that has actually been just like helping my cardio, helping how I feel, helping how I sleep. Although a lot of old ladies have been looking at me really weird in the stairwell.
Well, If it helps you, I'm sure they wish they could do that too. For Lithuanians to stick out and do something weird, especially the older generation, is just unthinkable. I'm just going to put up to they're jealous.
They're jealous. They want to do it. Well, as far as trauma is concerned, beyond therapy, what would you recommend as the first starting place? Because we're about to have to end today. What would you say is the best first starting place if you have recognized that you have a trauma, that you're avoiding something, that you are wrestling with it every day, and you have decided to make a change?
Well, you already mentioned, I think, 3 steps in the last sentence. Because, well, I have one more example of my own, which is me spraining and rolling my ankles.
Ooh.
I have been doing that since I was, again, a kid. But when it happens as a kid, it's like, oh, whatever.
It's fine. I'll recover in 2 days.
But as time goes on and you look back at your past and you realize you've been rolling your ankles at least once a year.
And you're not even a basketball player.
No, but whenever I would be running for, a little while, eventually I would sprain it. And I'm talking about my entire high school life was just like filled with sprains. And it took me a while to realize that I hadn't got the proper proprioception of my ankles, which means I don't know how they move. I haven't practiced that enough. And that's not because I wasn't walking a lot. We used to walk a lot, but I had flat feet, which of course made things more difficult.
Right there with you on the flat feet.
Yup. And I couldn't enjoy running much. But I just thought, just part of me. That's just a part of me. I'm not someone who runs. Even though as a kid I loved running. I would just be speeding around like a kid with ADHD. So it wasn't until I got employed in the best gym I've ever seen in 2021 that I got an opportunity to, acknowledge the issue and acknowledge the fact that it can be fixed.
Which gym was that?
Well, I'm not going to go and plug them for free, but I will let you know that they are here in Vilnius. And
wonderful.
And yes, the membership does cost around $100 per month.
I mean, $100 per month is a lot to me, but also if it actually works, that's pretty worth it.
Yeah. So I made myself a 2-month plan to train every single ankle muscle in every single direction, both eccentric and isometric. And I really didn't expect too much.
Because it's an ankle. How complicated could it be?
Oh boy. Anatomy class could not have prepared me for whatever the hell I learned. Because, when you sprain an ankle, it's usually in the same direction.
Yes.
In the same one. And theory says that means your ankle was not ready for that load and that specific motion.
Right.
So when I trained it in that motion, I thought, eventually it would get better. I would recover faster. I wasn't really ready for the result because trauma prevention results are misleadingly tricky because you're measuring something, you're measuring a lack of something. You're measuring a lack of trauma. So it's hard to see. Like, are you going to injure yourself to check, how good you recover, how hard it was?
Here, just give me your ankle. No, just do a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu heel hook on you just to see how this is rolling.
Yeah, so it was, I think, 2 years later, after this 2-month plan, which I'd never repeated before afterwards.
Yeah.
To be frank. I was walking up the stairs and I rolled my ankle. And then, somewhat instinctively, I just, out of muscle power and an instinct, I just rolled it back. And then I just stood there looking at my ankle and I'm waiting for the pain, waiting for something. There's nothing.
You just got through it and the muscles didn't freak out.
No, the muscles were ready for, some load. They were ready for a more stretched out position. And I didn't feel nothing that day, that week. That I didn't feel nothing. And I've done that several times. Of course, I'm not trying to do it. But it happens, and my body's like, oh, I've been in this position.
This is fine.
We just rolled back, and we're good. And I'm not like a light kid, I'm like 81 kilos. So that's a lot of weight to put on one foot. But
I'm not going to talk about how much I weigh. Shut up.
No. to emphasize that, it felt like you're watching a character from your favorite show get shot like in the chest, and they fall down. It's all dramatic.
And then they just get back up.
Yeah, and then they reveal like the bulletproof vest. Like that's how you feel. It's like, wow, I didn't know it could work like this.
That's brilliant. Well, we may talk about more in the direction of trauma in coming episodes. We're also going to have to do inevitably more of mental health and mental trauma, because we've got plenty of those.
Oh, and we know you do too.
Yeah.
Thank you, dear viewers, for giving us plenty to talk about.
Yeah. I can't wait till we start getting emails from people just asking, how do I deal with X circumstance? Because I'm really looking forward to answering those.
You can give us a paragraph long or just a sentence. We'll answer both of those.
Absolutely. So coming to that, it's time to do the plugs. Specifically for healthyheartsandguillotines.com and dalife.lt. Healthyheartsandguillotines.com is our website for the podcast, where you can listen to old episodes and get links to what we hope will eventually be our merch. And dalife.lt is Domantas's, Zakim's private consulting business, where he will consult on your health and help you get through the traumas and slings and arrows of outrageous fortune.
And hopefully not get stuck demoralized from public clinics, because I've been through that, and please.
It's very depressing.
It is.
There's also our Patreon, Healthy Hearts and Guillotines, on Patreon. We'll have that link in the show notes. But it's very good to speak to you this week, Zakim. I'm really glad you're here, and I'm glad to see you, and I'm glad to be back recording, because I had a rough week last week.
I hope you get through the cold season somehow.
6 more weeks. We can do this. We can do this. Well, this is Chessie signing off.
This is Akeem signing off. And remember, your health is in your hands.